Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. Oh my goodness, it's Friday the 13th. Well, all sorts of good things can happen to us today. We simply get to choose. So come on in. Hello, Robert. Hello, Omar. Come on in. Tell me where you're calling from. I'm Leslie Flowers, and today we're going to do a 45-minute down and dirty Think and Grow Rich through all of the principles up to mastermind today. And I've been doing this series, this 12-week series for, almost 2 years now on Friday. So repetition is the first law of learning. So every time we hear this, no matter where we are, we're at a higher level of awareness. So we're bound to have new light bulb moments. If you ever catch yourself saying, well, I already know this, you were different when you knew it before. You know more now. You're more aware now. So you'll experience the phenomenon of recognition of the material. And you may also go into clarity from confusion. When you heard it before, it didn't make sense, and now it does. That means that you're growing in your conscious awareness of your infinite potential. Good morning. I'm Leslie Flowers. I am so glad you're here. Please feel free to go to event details and share this post with your communities. This is weekly Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, and I start off telling you, oh, what a beautiful morning, depending on where you are. Oh, what a beautiful day, even though it's raining like crazy here. I've got a beautiful feeling. Everything's going my way. Welcome, everybody. This is a teaching lesson, the principles of success. And I've been doing this for 16 years and some 20,000 hours. And I just love it. And every time I teach it, I feel younger. I'm more aware. I'm more happy. So when it rains, are we disappointed? Or do we remember what the droughts were like? And are we now instantly grateful for the rain that has blessed us? So let's see who's here. I'm so glad that we have several people already. Good morning, Omar. So happy to see you here. And Omar, put where you aren't you in Phoenix, if I'm not mistaken? So feel free to put where you're calling from. Hi, Robert. I'm not sure that we're close friends yet, but let's make sure we do that. Yes, Elizabeth, it worked, but it doesn't always work. Okay, it does. I'm still grappling with this new studio, but I'm just keep moving your feet. You know, you could climb to the top of Mount Everest, taking only baby steps as long as you keep moving your feet. Or as one of my teachers, and actually I worked for him for quite a bit, Les Brown, Mrs. Brown's baby boy, if you find yourself in hell, keep moving your feet. So we're always looking for the greatness in others. We're always looking for the lesson. And that's based on the law of polarity, one of the things I teach, besides the principles of success, emotional intelligence, quantum physics, a little bit metaphysics, leadership for sure. I've been doing this kind of work for 25 years. The last 15 focused deeply on Think and Grow Rich. Oh, and look who's here. Oh, Bethan. Bethan is here from UK. Now let's see if I can get, everything is kind of wonky this morning as usual. I've told you that every week. Yes, here she is. Hi, Bethan. So glad you're here. Oh, and look, Lisa's here. Lisa is a registered dietitian, and she puts out wonderful tidbits each week on LinkedIn. She also every other week has a wonderful audio room with a panel that is all about the foods you eat to monitor or diminish the over 100 symptoms of menopause. But as I've said before, her advice is in general excellent. So you don't have to be in menopause to appreciate Lisa by any means. That's just her, or that not just, that's her specialty, what she loves the most. Good morning, Terrence. Oh, I love that sunshine. It's pouring here in North Carolina. But, you know, it reminds me of San Francisco. San Francisco was always foggy, rainy, cool in the mornings. And by the afternoon, in the fall, it was Indian summer and you were sweating. So for me, you know, memory, which is a conscious faculty, also has with it, when we think about it again, how we felt. So when it rains and it's pouring here, I think of paddling a canoe with my soon-to-be husband in Golden Gate Park, in the rain, in the fog. Can you imagine? So that's why memories are so important, because mind is an activity and it occurs cellularly. So when you feel really good, your whole body feels good. So mind is an activity. It's not the brain. And so what we think the most and the memories we bring up the most are also going to bring up the way we felt. The reverse is also true. If you bring up bad memories, something that you had a breakup, every time you bring that up, you know, your cellular vibration drops to a very low frequency. And that is how we move into disease, because our bodies are designed for high vibration. We work the best when it's love and generosity and gratitude and sex and all those things that drive the way we feel up. And this is how the universe, and we're going to talk about this today in Mastermind, but this is how the universe knows what we want. It sends us whatever we want based on what we're thinking about and feeling about the most. So if all you're thinking about is bills and how crappy everything is, there's going to be more of that at your front door. But you can actually train yourself once you know the law of polarity, which is one of 7 universal laws, that there's always the opposite. So we need to train ourselves to look for the good, look for the lesson in everything. You know this. Here's the trick. How long does it take you to realize it? When something negative happens to you, or what you perceive as negative, how quickly do you realize, oh, wait a minute, does your conscious mind take over that fear that something's not right? How long does it take you? It could take days. I remember days when I wasn't speaking to my husband. Now, we had a 95% really great marriage, but there were those moments, and I didn't know about this. So I would carry a grudge, and I would be grumbling and stubbing my toes for days. And now I can do it in about 15 seconds. And I'm so much happier. You can do it too. All right, let's see who else is here. Oh, here's my beautiful friend. No, you didn't miss the song, Lisa. Sunny and, oh, Metro West, Massachusetts. That's lovely. That's lovely. So while you're inundated with snow in a few months, looking for the good in that, we won't have to worry about it so much. Anyway, Robert, you're in Calgary. Oh my goodness. I have a friend in Calgary, Aaron Gibson. I don't know if you know him. And so I don't know if that's how we know each other, but I'm glad you're here. Yes. Omar is in Phoenix. Get to know each other. Oh, look at this. Okay, so Omar's watching from YouTube. I've never been able to do YouTube, but Omar did a job for me as a consultant, and he got my YouTube station squared away. I could never figure out how to configure YouTube because I don't pay much attention to it, but he took care of it. So thank you, Omar. Oh, look, and there's oops. Okay, there's Aaron. Good morning, Aaron. So good to see you. We have another Calgary person here. Look at this. Oh, you know each other. Fabulous. Okay, so Aaron is, signal is all over here. Perfect. And let's see what else is. Oh, no. Oh, this is weird. Just give me a second. Okay. All right. Well, I don't know whether it's the ray. We're out of Mercury retrograde. We're out of the shadow. So we can't blame astrology on things that don't work. And it seems silly, doesn't it? But the sooner you give up that something isn't working right, the happier you'll be. So I often blame Mercury retrograde when something doesn't work and just laugh and move on. How many people do that? Anyway, so today we're going to talk about mastermind, and I've already talked with you about 10 minutes. We're going to pour through quickly the steps to reach mastermind. Now, listen, this is the principle that brings it all together, because persistence creates faith, and from faith comes power. And power, you'll learn today, is attained through three things. First of all, organized knowledge, right? So you learn something like, I know this work, and I am fortunate enough to have the power to create a process so that you can always use this process to have what you want, to continually feed you the information that you just didn't know. And then I've been obsessed for the last 16 years with the principles of success and universal laws. And I've done some incredible things using this material. Incredible. I don't worry as much anymore. I do worry, but I know that the universal laws work all the time, and I understand their influence. Therefore, I don't worry about the things that the laws are taking care of. For example, the exact day you're going to achieve your goal, and then you get right up on it and it's not happening. You think, well, I failed. No, it never was up to you to determine the day, other than that that's where you're shooting and you're visualizing already having it and all the excitement around it. But if you're off by a few days, who cares? The actual retrieval of what you want will be delivered to you when you have learned enough to be a vibrational match with the size of the thing you want. So if you've got this huge dream, you may not be ready for it. And the universe will hold back, because God and the universe wants you to succeed. We are co-creators, and we communicate. And the universe, God, communicates with us through our conscious mind, comes in through our five senses, into the conscious mind that receives or rejects the information. That's how most of us do it, except for the few that know this work. They know that within the conscious mind, there are 6 mental muscles. And the more you exercise them, the more powerful they become to outweigh your boatload of fears, which we have perfect faith in. Now, I've only come to that recently, that we really believe our fears. We experience them. They're strong. They're an enemy. But we keep our friends close and our enemies closer. So the more you understand the power of fear, the more easily you'll be able to take it away and move it into the conscious mind, where you're thinking, seeing, connecting to the universe through intuition and imagination. But most of us do not think. Most of us are reacting based on our 6 basic fears. The top 2 are fear of criticism and judgment. I'm not doing that. What if I do it wrong? What are they going to think of me? That's a fear, because you failed. Well, of course, it makes perfect sense that the way you outwit or outweigh that fear is by doing it, and doing it effectively, thereby proving that you have the ability and the deservability to have this thing. All right, let me look and see who else is here, and then I want to just get right into this, because I could talk about this forever. Let me see where we are. Okay. Just want to make sure. Okay, we've got wonderful. Oh, look who's here. Oh, yes, that's right. the saying, dream big. And you can't know how to do it. You just have to want it like crazy, more than you are afraid. Okay. And here is Ashif. Let me just see what Ashif says. I knew only what I knew then. Yes, rain, cleansing clarity, washes away sins, as well as some people feel the rain, others just get wet. Oh, very good. Okay. So we've got a nice little group here. Now, one of the things I want you to do is set an intention. You've heard of Mastermind before. You've been to these, most of these. You may have read Think and Grow Rich once or twice. You may even have studied it with me. And because this lives on my personal page and people can watch it again, repetition is the first law of learning. So you really get it and it gets clear for you. Life gets easier the more you know about how the world works. You just don't worry about it as much. So you can go and watch that anytime. You would put team replay, but anybody who's watching this again, which I hope you do, they're going to get your insights too. So whatever you're hearing, whatever questions you have, if there's confusion, note it in the comments. That way I can address it, and the next people that listen to this will get the benefit of your insights too. Mine aren't the only ones. These are mine, and I've been doing this for 20,000 hours and 16 years, but that doesn't mean that your view would explain it better to other people. Not everybody resonates all the time with the same person. I absolutely understand that. Oh, okay. All right. So, all right. So here we go. All right. Let me just do this. Let me see where I am here. Okay. Quick recap. Let me make this a little bigger here. See if I can do this. Well, I don't need, do I need to be that big? Okay. Well, this will be okay. So the 13 principles of success are built on before you even begin. And before the train takes off out of the station, as you're learning, you must have a definite purpose. This is in the introduction. It's not even, definite purpose isn't even a principle of success. It's in the introduction. And if you want to read anything, reread the introduction. It is the seed. It's the source of how all this works. Now, keep in mind, Napoleon Hill wrote the #2 bestseller of all times 100 years ago, second only to the New Testament. In it is the roadmap to wild, unbridled success, wealth, happy, and health. It's the roadmap. The problem is we aren't all ready and willing to take this on. We aren't curious enough. We're impatient, but that's fine. Each person gets curious in their own, on their own timetable. So you can't make someone learn. They have to want to. But if you look at children, they're the happiest when they're learning. So are you. So am I. So before you even start this, you must have a clear, definite purpose. What do you want? Why do you want it? You can't know how to do it. And ideally, it's something that scares you. It needs to scare you because your job is to disprove the fear that's been running your life. The fear that you created at 7 years old, being humiliated on the school, in the schoolyard with kids, or the teacher says something that humiliates you, and you say, I'm never getting up in front of people again. Well, that's fine for a 7-year-old, but there are people today that get sick when someone even asks them to speak in public, which shows you that those are deeply embedded fears and you have faith in them. They're real. They're absolutely real. And every time you think about it, you also get that very low, nasty vibration that puts you into dis-ease. And that's why people can get nauseous about it. Oh, look who's here. Okay, let's see what we have here. I'm getting there, I promise. It's a good point that the message can be received differently. Oh, hi, Demian. That's right. That's correct. Absolutely correct. And it's when you hear it too, because you may hear it You may have heard this 6 months ago and was sure that you got it. And then you hear it again today and you think, wait a minute, I didn't hear that last time. That's right. Because you were on a different thought frequency. So absolutely pristine, Damien. It doesn't matter. You know, I can say the same thing. Ashif can say the same thing. It will maybe resonate with you when I do it or when he does it. So be listening all the time for things that resonate with you, because that's a confirmation that you're in alignment, if you will, and that you already know this, but you aren't as clear. So definite purpose is the most important thing. Okay. Well, I was always here. At least I felt like I was here. Anyway, okay. So you've got to have a specific, and it's got to be so strong that, and think about this yourself. When did this happen? When did you fight against all odds? Was it going to university? Was it like Christine Feedy, who on a very short timeline got her master's with her back against the wall the whole time? You know, it has to compel you and be strong enough to outweigh the first thought, which is, this is a bad idea. Experience tells me this is a bad idea. And that's why only 2 or 3 people out of 100 ever get this material. But once you get the process and you do one goal at a time, ooh, my screen is changing colors and everything. Oh my God, must be the rain. Good thing, rain. Once you know the process, and that's why you only do one goal at a time, so you can repeat it. You don't want to achieve one goal and then fail at the next, do you? And achieve another goal and fail at the next one? That's not how confidence is built. That's not how your awareness is built. However, with any good process, if you've done your due diligence, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. And in actual fact, we're talking about mastermind, which is one of the magical things. Let me see if I can, without cutting you off. Okay, there we go. All right. So you got this thing that you want. You're compelled to do it. You know you're the one. Oh, Toulouse. Oh, my goodness. This is so, you know, Toulouse is there, and that's not her boyfriend. Toulouse is Elizabeth's dog, who studied with me as much as Elizabeth in my course over 12 weeks. And now whenever he hears my voice, he jumps up to the computer. So dogs don't have conscious awareness. That is, they know they're in the room, but they don't know that they know they're in the room. But I tell you what, Toulouse knows me. So thank you. Okay, good. Let me see what Amy has to say here. Hey, Amy. It is also your frame of mind, current circumstances. Yeah, absolutely. Your environment. Absolutely. We're never the same. We're always growing or disintegrating. We're growing and learning, or we're choosing not to learn. So the first one is desire, the starting point of all achievement. With a specific, definite purpose, through repetition of thinking about this thing and taking a couple of steps every week, you build desire. You fall in love in the worst way. You are obsessed. Think about the greatest things, the Wright brothers, the computers, all these people. I think you have to be a little off balance. I certainly was this last summer. When a 25-year dream came true. Now, this was one of those experiences that when I created the outline 25 years ago for my first fiction, my 10th book, first fiction, The Possibility of Errata, I had the concept, but I was in a world of hurt. And I had no idea whether it was a big idea or not. I was just writing, imagining, visioneering, if you will, and writing the outline. And then I didn't touch it. I was in no position to write this book. And I just let it sit. I didn't quite forget about it, but 22 years later, I was ready. And I wrote it in 12 weeks based on the outline. The best part about what I've shared with you is the universe will provide you the people and opportunities that you need to bring your big dream to fruition, to manifest. at a point when you can enjoy it all the way. So if I said today, or if you said today, I want $1 million, there'd be a lot of stress and anxiety and how to deal with it. Oh, I got to get Leah. She's my wall of wealth person. I got to get, there's a lot of work having money. So there's a lot of anxiety. But because if I had written it anywhere else, any other time, I would have been stumped and found obstacles. But when I did this summer was the launch of the book. It did very, very well. And people showed up at the perfect time, like Aaron Gibson did. I had a dream that he could create with his fabulous videos a book trailer, like a movie trailer. I'd never seen anybody do it. So now this summer we worked on that, and in the 7.5-minute movie trailer are 25 cookies or Easter eggs that match up to the book. So it's possibility of errata. You can do this yourself, watch the trailer, and pick off the things in this science fiction fantasy love story. Okay, now the next step is we got to quickly build faith. How do we build faith? By thinking about it in spaced, repetitive intervals over time. It doesn't have to be all day, every day. It can be a few minutes every day when you visualize it. It can be 2 tasks a week. Do not plot out all the tasks, because as you grow, people and opportunities will show up. And if you're worried about the milestone you set based on yesterday's level of awareness, you're going to be focused on solving those obstacles, and those people will walk right by the very people. Well, I was ready. So faith is built through repetition on top of desire, which cannot occur without a definite purpose. Okay. How do we do it? We do it through auto or self-suggestion. Brainwashing, same thing. Negative or positive. It doesn't take a lot. It takes consistency. It takes your willingness to be a little patient. Then we learned about imagination and the 2 different kinds of imagination. One is creative, when you get that wild idea, you can see the difference. And then when you fall in love with it, if you happen to, all of a sudden your synthetic imagination, which is, I guess, the culmination of all your experiences, starts to fill in the pieces for you. So you're already on your way. You're in action and you're on your way. You've got to take some steps, obviously. Now, going back to before you come out of the gate, decision becomes as easy as that. And the opposite of decision is procrastination, the worst of our habits, right? So if you know exactly what you want, why you want it, you haven't done it before, you're compelled, it's the only thing, then any squirrel, anything that gets in your way, you simply ask this question: if I do this now, will it take me closer to my goal or not? If it doesn't, don't do it now. It doesn't mean you never do it, but you must discipline yourself to ask and answer that question so that you continue to move in spaced, repetitive intervals over time. Then persistence maps to discipline. So you've been doing this. My program is 12 weeks. We do 12-week goals, primarily because learning this material too and applying it, because over 16 years and some 62 programs with multi-people completing, that's about as long as people will stay motivated. And I'm not the first person to come up with the 12 weeks. Believe me, there's a book, The 12-Week Year. I was already doing this, and the Landmark Education uses 12 weeks. It works very well if you're wondering what is the best way to teach something. Now, this whole business of create a habit in 21 days, a habit is not faith. It's on the way to faith. But anybody who tells you that you can do that, I'm telling you, through my experience, hands-on, it doesn't stick necessarily. It might. But pure faith is when you know that you know that you know it, and it's permanent for you. It's like your love of God. Nobody can talk you out of that. That doesn't really change. At least it doesn't for me. Okay. Then, so that's persistence. And then last week we did the 6 basic fears, and we discovered that rather than putting the fears at the beginning of the book to scare the hell out of everybody, Napoleon Hill wisely put it in the epilogue. And so I'm a little out of sequence. But those fears, those 6 basic fears we talked about, they are in charge. They're not thinking. It's all reaction. And it's all based on beliefs that we can't do it, that there isn't enough money for us, that we're not smart enough, that we're not the one, and we've got proof. So our results always match what we have faith in. So if you don't have faith in yourself, you can build it though. That's the work I do. You build it by getting smarter. And the 3 things in gathering power for today is organized knowledge, which I had started, experience, like you've been doing it, right? So you've got some hands-on experience, and a plan, a simple plan. So that's how you get power. Now, persistence actually creates faith. And with faith comes this power. And power is essential for success in the accumulation of riches. Now, that's how Napoleon Hill said it. We know it's not the love of money here. It is money being used as a tool. Whatever it is you want to do for people, you use money to put that in play. So we have to have money. But it's not a love of money. It's a love of the tool that provides for other people. So you really want to be distinct that you're not in love with money. You have to be more in love with service and being a heart-centered servant. You have to. Let's just say we aspire. I mean, our purpose for all of us, what I've discovered throughout my life, is to serve others. It's just that we have different purposes and ways of serving people through different decades of our life. When we're first learning, we're doing one thing, and then we're doing another thing. You know, when I was, I was 21, I wanted to fly to the Orient, to Southeast, or to Asia. And I had already been a stewardess with Northwest Airlines domestically. But I was living in San Francisco, driving a 1960 TR3 up and down the hills. I could double clutch. I could stop in the middle of a hill without stepping on the brake. I could pull up the emergency brake and release it slowly enough after coming to a dead stop on the hills, right? I mean, I got really, really good at that. Anyway, I decided I wanted to fly to Japan. And it was really expensive to go domestically. So right across the Bay Bridge was a charter airline. And Travis Air Force Base was there. And they had several charter airlines in the 60s taking troops into and out of Vietnam. So I signed up for that. That meant I spent 2 days in Hawaii, 2 days in the Philippines, dropped the troops off in Vietnam, picked up the ones going home a year later, spent another couple of days in Japan, and then came home through Alaska or via Fort Dix, New Jersey. Big dream, right? It was a lot of fun. I'm not sure why I brought that up. Anyway, so today we're talking about, I'm sure you did. Let me just see. This is fire. Oh, thank you, Rosemary. You can tell I love this. Oh my God, you guys. I have been sharing this. I have very few notes, but I do listen to the unabridged version as many times as I've read this every week to make sure that my awareness picks up the most important things. All right, so let's go on. Now, here's a couple of things I want to share with you. In my 2014 bestseller in Women and Business, this originally was Think and Grow Rich for Women. A political history you don't want to hear about, the reason why this doesn't say Think and Grow Rich for Women. It doesn't matter. But in this book, I took everything I had learned See, that was 2014, and I started in 2008. So 6 years in to 16 years, I wrote this book. And these are the things I wanted to share with you, because this gives you, as far as creating a mastermind, a lot of people call it a mastermind. The truth is Napoleon Hill popularized the word. But if you think about it, it's been used in armies, caveman, that's why the picture, right? When all the men went out, right? They were doing a mastermind. They created a mastermind, and the magic is the spiritual aspect of it. So when you're planning a mastermind, these are the things that you want to be sure you have in place. Everybody agrees. So these are your boundaries. You can set them in advance. And part of these is that the eighth one, if you will, because of this, is that you can opt out at any time. So look, you all have a common interest. Usually it's a definite purpose working on a specific goal. One of my masterminds that I did in 2008 had 10 people in it, 2 women that I knew would never go on, and 8 men. They stayed together for 3 years, opened nonprofits, and I had several. And then a startup, I can't think of the name of it right now. It's just escaped me, where I was the culture director. So they all learned at my knee about these principles, and they began to open nonprofits to serve others. The 2 ladies went on and did their things. And I said to them, once the mastermind was over, I said, you guys keep meeting. Each one of you take a different principle and study it together every couple of weeks or every month, which they did. The women didn't, but the men did, because they knew. And so that's why in 2013, I turned to helping women a whole lot. So you all have to be committed. You have skills to share. You're open to accountability and feedback. You want to exceed your expectations and take action, right? And the thing here is that the benefits are obvious, right? You're collaborating and using one another's skills. Your learning curve goes down and you build confidence. You also have friends. You see visible, real progress as a result of being in a mastermind. And I will tell you that Benjamin Franklin called his a junto, Junto. His junto of people like him that were like-minded lasted 40 years. Andrew Carnegie, who was the source of Think and Grow Rich, asking Napoleon Hill to write this book 100 years ago, had 60 people in his mastermind. Now, look, here's what happens. But I'll tell you in just a minute. Let me finish this bit as we get toward the end. I'm going to tell you exactly how the magic works so you can get a concept of the power. This is what yields you the power to manifest whatever you want without a lot of aggravation, right? You really are preparing yourself in advance. Let's see. You have your support network. You have a consistent accountability system, and you continue to develop your values of integrity, honesty, and compassion. Oops, that isn't what I wanted to do. That isn't what I wanted to do. Well, hell, that wasn't either. Okay, so I know what to do. We'll remove this right now. There we go. So let me explain to you how the spiritual part of this works. So you know already that is the way we feel will yield our results. And when we get together with 2 or more people, it's amazing that I could come up with an idea. All of a sudden, an idea pops into my head for someone sitting at the table who was doing something completely different. How could that be? Well, as I've shared with you before, that all ideas are already here. They're in the ether. They're not in your head, if you will. And this is a very simple explanation, but it's a good way to begin to imagine and visualize what's actually happening. So these ideas flow from form of thought energy, ideas, through us. And because we have conscious awareness, we can do something with it. These ideas do not go through animals because they don't process this way. So it requires, the idea has to use us. That's the genius of our universe. You really didn't think that we were all going to have $1 million buckets of gold by just sitting back. No, we were given the faculties, the intellectual faculties, to biomimic how we got those crappy fears and just use them. Use the same process to create faith in your ability and deservability once and for all. So these ideas are constantly flowing. Now, we all in the mastermind have access to this power. When several people get together, you can look at great men and women who have succeeded. They did this with a group of people because what we're doing is transmuting the energy from the universe, if you will, into everyone. So everybody gets excited. Everybody gets access to my idea, your idea, someone else's idea. And this feeds into the mystery of why people have been using Mastermind. Now you can use it intentionally. Now you can create a group, a small group, a large group, and now you have the parameters, the agreements. You didn't have that before, right? Now you do. So now through learning, you can put it into practice and save time. People throw that word around a whole lot, but the reality is there's a lot to it. You know this magic, right? Let's see, fear ends where faith begins. Well, that's a good one, Ashif. Only one prevails in any one moment. And the question is, which one is going to win? Right now, fears win, hands down. Let me just do this. I meant to do this before. Here we go. I didn't do this last time. Okay, so these are the 7 agreements as I share with you, right? And then I'll show you the next one, which has the 7 key benefits. Okay, so the idea here is there is power in the ether, and the ability for you or me to get an idea for someone else who's in a completely different country, a completely different frame of reference. You don't know anything about them or how to help them when you sit down. The universe will feed it to you. It will come in through your 5 senses, and you'll get this idea and you'll go, oh, you could try this, but where did it come from? That's the magic. So now everybody in the group has the power. It is one of the most amazing experiences myself. I've led over 50 face-to-face masterminds that lasted months, and a major one with an emerging enterprise that lasted 2.5 years, where these people made their contracts, they made millions just with these simple principles. Okay, here's the other one, because we're getting real close to the end here. These are the 7 key benefits. So let me bring this in so I can show you this, and I can make this bigger. There we go. Just so you know what I'm up to. Mondays, 10 a.m. audio room with my friend Paulette Hallam. Mind over Matter Mondays. We talk about this stuff. We get really clear. What are the voices in our head? How do we outwit them? How can we actually have what we want? If our results match what we believe, then we may not be happy with our lifestyle, our income, our spirituality, our relationships, our health and wellness. Right? We're human. We've had failures. The idea here, though, is to train your conscious awareness and the 6 mental muscles, which are perception, imagination, intuition, memory, reason. and will or focus. So we do this every Friday. I've got something new coming, by the way. I'm the creator of the 12 laws of achievement, the only checklist in this process for you to achieve every goal every time, provided you followed, right? You're ready and willing. And so I'm going to be sharing that with you and offering something special before the end of the year where you will have 2025 all goals based on moving your business or your life forward within 3 hours in writing, in priority order, because we're going to access mastermind and the universe, and I'm going to teach you how to do that. That's what I've been doing. So I can do it. I've done it. It used to be a 2-day course, then it was a 1-day course. Now I can do it in 3 hours. So it saves time. So we do this on Fridays, and then I'm part of the Work-Life Balance Summit, 27 presenters. It's a 2-day telesummit. I was part of it in the spring. It was just wonderful. Where else can you invest a small amount of revenue? Very reasonable. The return is so much bigger. You've got to get to the place where you begin to invest in yourself. I know there's a lot of free here. And I was that person who jumped from workshop to live. We didn't have rooms back then. We did telephone masterminds. I just sucked up everything free I could. However, if you want your clients to pay you, you got to invest. That's one of the laws, the law of attraction. If you're not investing revenue and you don't believe in yourself enough to get with someone who knows more than you to save you time, then you want to do that. At some point you will. Okay, at some point you will. And then I'm part of this wonderful LinkedIn Love Affair trilogy, which Nicole Angai Galindo is managing, and I've never seen anybody do 3 books at once. I've published 17 books, but they were always one at a time for other people. So it's all about why you're here on LinkedIn and why you love it. So I wanted you to be aware of ways that you can work with me, where you can find me. I am very grateful that you're here. There's a lot to be learned by all of us. Listen to people, take a few notes, and above all, when you leave here today, you're going to be at a higher level of awareness than you were when you came in. Pick one thing to do. Don't try to do everything. One thing. Maybe you're going to read the introduction in Think and Grow Rich. Maybe you're going to put this on your calendar to continue coming. Maybe you're going to go to my page and watch one of these trainings in a row, because each week was a different subject. Maybe that's what you want to do. Whatever it is, pick one thing and take action on it. Be consistent in spaced intervals. You don't have to be obsessed with it. Make it a habit first. Then once you've got it, go pick something else. And through practice, you'll get better and better and better at it. So let me stop this banner thingy here. There we go. All right. Well, we're a few minutes over. To go back over this, all begins with definite purpose. Today was understanding the power of mastermind. What actually happens is that you're transmuting high energy from the universe into the mastermind conversation, and everybody develops that power. So remember, in order to have power, which is required for success, you have to have some organized knowledge. In other words, you've got to study a little bit. You have to experience it, like do it a little bit, right? And then you have to have a plan, not necessarily in that order. So we're getting ready to close up. I've had a lot of trouble trying to end the stream in this studio. But let me remind you, before we leave for the weekend, we're fully in September. Did I ever tell you all you're my heroes? You're everything I would like to be. And I get to fly higher than an eagle. You are really the wind beneath my wings. Thanks, everybody. I'll be coming back around to check the comments. Put your insights in there. I would love to see them. I'm not always really great at it. Oh my goodness, here I am trying very hard to end this stream. Oh, I think I got it. No, I didn't. Oh my goodness. Okay, so this is insane. Anyway, it's going to end itself when I close this down. So I will figure this out. I've sent them several messages. I appreciate all of you. And so you can leave or you can stay and watch me fumble with the studio, but we're done. All right.